Hi, guys. How are you all? Good to see everyone. Let me fix this so I don't have to look in 5 different directions to actually be able to communicate with you. Because if I don't do this, then the camera is standing anyways. Peer pressure, peer pressure, peer pressure, peer pressure for what? Open up, it's the FSB. No thanks. The FSB has literally zero prerogative and jurisdiction in Ukraine, so they can get the, anyways, hi Everett, hi Debbie, hi Michael, hi everyone. Alrighty, so I have hi Vilma, hi Martin, hi Magda. So I didn't go live yesterday because I genuinely just needed to sleep. I was so tired. I woke up very, very early the day before that. And I've been running around and doing things all day that day. So I figured that for everyone's sanity and my own, I really need to sleep a bit. You guys are going to meet Anastasia again on my stream this weekend, likely, because she's going to be here. So thank you, GF. And hi, Lars. So yeah, so I normally never take days off. I don't like to. I feel guilty and stuff like that. But I'm not in Lviv though, but I'm in Kyiv. I feel guilty and things like that. But I was like, okay, I literally was falling asleep sitting on my couch. So that was just not going to happen. But I'm back today and I actually feel much better. Hi, Chad. Thank you so much. Hello. Good evening. And good to see you. And I just felt like, you deserve better than me falling asleep, and the news deserves better than me falling asleep. I've been doing a lot of active things and walking around a lot now that the weather is much nicer in Kyiv, and so that also contributes to my general tiredness. On Sunday, so the day before that, I also walked around. I think I walked 27,000 steps because my friends took me around Kyiv to show me the neighborhoods that I haven't been to after the Azov rally. So that was a lot. And yeah, so now I'm back. I'm back and I'm better. I'm kidding. But the other day when we were talking about fundraisers and when we agreed to try and fundraise for a drone a month or something like that for different brigades, I told you that I would reach out to a friend of mine to ask if his unit, which is an English-speaking unit, needs a drone. And then I did, and he said that they do. And then I said that I would reach out to him and ask him how best to do it. And I said that I would get his PayPal and get him to set up a monobank jar to send the funds to them directly so they can purchase a drone. So that's a no-go because they don't know where to purchase a drone. Usually volunteers do it. So there is a fixer in Lviv that I know 100% knows where to purchase drones, and so does Wikipedia. Vlad, the serviceman that you've seen in my videos, he's a good friend of mine. So instead of fundraising money and sending it to the unit to purchase drones like we did last time, I'm going to attempt to fundraise for a drone and purchase it myself, and then give it to my friend. I also told you I would tell you the story of how, not Amazon, because Amazon doesn't deliver to Ukraine. It'll be likely sourced from Poland because they're overpriced here. But thank you so much, Salt of the Red Earth. But so I also told you that I would tell you the story of why this person is important to me and why I want to fundraise for them as the first, as the first little drone fundraiser. So those of you who have been here forever know this story. And those of you who had just joined, I guess, like, welcome to my life. So on my first visit to Ukraine, when I first got here, before I went back to the US, got Cine and moved here, I went to a, oh, thank you. I went to a hospital with my friends because they asked me to help, like, with the publicity, basically. And I went there with Robert. You've seen him in the comments in the past couple of lives. And we walked in there. We obviously stuck out like sore thumbs because I was speaking to Robert in English. He barely speaks Ukrainian. And so this doctor runs up to us, like stops us and goes, and we were like visiting different servicemen who were being treated in that hospital. And it's a hospital with like very severe injuries. Like most people are double or triple amputees, unfortunately. And there is a neurological department. So if something is like wrong with your nerves and like, you know, serious like shrapnel wounds. But so anyways, we were like walking around rooms and like talking to servicemen, kind of like trying to like make their day, you know, like communicate and stuff, like just kind of lift their mood. And we were asking them what they might need. And that's how we ended up then purchasing pillows, if you remember that. And so a doctor runs up to us. He like stops us because he hears us speaking like English. And he's like, oh my gosh, are you American? And we're like, well, yeah. And so he's like, are you native speakers? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, we have this Irish person here and no one understands him. Can you please go talk to him? Because like, you know, Ukrainians who have learned English like to a moderate degree usually have a really hard time understanding accents that are not heard on TV very often, right? And Irish is like a pretty strong one. So we like walked into the room. We were like, sure, yeah, we'll go talk to him. So we walked into the room. He thought that we were like volunteers who were about to take pictures with him and leave. So he was like, you know, like casually saying hello in a very like annoyed tone to us in Ukrainian. Hi, Ronan. And we were like, oh, hi, like, you know, we're just here because like your doctor was like, you know, was like saying that people have a hard time understanding you. And he was like, oh my gosh, they speak English. So we ended up like chatting, and then Rob and him exchanged like signals or whatever, because we figured we would invite him to our podcast at that point. And then I ended up getting in contact with him. And so we've been in contact ever since. And like, you know, when I was in Lviv, we spent quite a bit of time together. And then he was injured when I was coming to Kyiv after I had already moved. So I've seen him a couple of times then. And then he lived in Kyiv when I was living in Kyiv. So anyways, like it's been, you know, it's been a journey. I also sent him off to the front. Because when I met him, it was like a week or 2 weeks before he was going back to the front, and like right after his birthday too. So it was like, you know, or right before his birthday. So it was like, you know, it was a whole thing. Robert and I made like a huge care package for him and like his brothers in arms, because he literally went back to the front like a couple of days before his birthday, and he actually ended up getting injured again on another mission and like being in a hospital for his birthday. And so we sent him like a huge care package with like socks and tea and coffee and like you know, and thank you, Pasha. And we also put in like sweets and energy bars that like one of them was flavored as it was like birthday cake flavored. So I thought it was funny. There was just like a bunch of like knickknacks and stuff like that. And so we sent this like huge package there. And then we actually, with you guys, they were one of the first brigades that we did like a serious fundraiser for, because we fundraised for a quad for them for reconnaissance missions, for thermals, and for rations. And you've seen, if you follow me on Twitter, then you have seen them taking pictures with the rations. So it's the same unit. However, they used to be with the 59th Brigade. They are no longer there. So they used to be in the Donetsk direction. Right now, their specialty and sort of like what they do has severely changed, and I can't really talk about it, nor do I know enough about it. But they're no longer in the Donetsk direction right now. They're also no longer with the 59th Brigade, and I I don't know which brigade. In fact, I feel like it's an interchanging thing. And it's basically, I'm not being told that information, and I know that that's for a reason. I know that they actually can speak about it. So there is that, but I will tell you that they are an assault unit, and they're a very combat ready unit, and they usually do tasks that a lot of units don't want to do. So they're usually in the middle of the grinder, and I do believe that it's still what they're doing, just in a different, I guess, environment. And so I would like to start a fundraiser for a drone for them. Taking pictures with the rations. Well, yeah, because I was like, I need proof of you receiving these things so I can like show it to people, and they like posed with the rations and stuff. It was actually hilarious because they sent like one picture where it's just like 3 of them in military uniform standing with this like table full of rations, right? And then the second picture was like one of them like looking at a ration like this, It's so funny because it was like, you don't need to pose. You like really don't need to pose. You could have literally just like sent a video saying like, thank you to like the people who contributed to buying these things or something like that. But it was just so funny because they tried like so hard. It's just like it's great. Thank you. It's fantastic. But so yeah, so that's who I would like to fundraise for the drone for, because I also think we might receive very funny pictures with the drone once it gets to them, and I will be going through Wikipedia to purchase it because I had just realized that one of my closest friends in Kyiv is a former drone pilot from Azov, who was in Azovstal, and I was just like, it's funny because like I was like, how am I supposed to find like a drone by myself and stuff like that? Like, how am I supposed to figure this out? Like, I'm so bad at this. And then like Grumpy was like, isn't Wikipedia a drone reconnaissance pilot? And I was like, yes, upon further consideration, yes, he is. He has been. Yes. I mean, he no longer serves, but that's literally what he does. He sources drones for his former unit because he's no longer military eligible. But yeah, that's that. So while I didn't formally create a picture for the fundraiser yet or anything like that, if you would like to send your first contributions, then my Venmo and my PayPal works, and I will be keeping a tab. Also, I am trying to rework the way that these things work. So I want to like maximize basically like transparency and maximize sort of like convenience for people. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to keep an Excel sheet of every donation. Obviously, I will not put in like your full names with the donation, but I will put in like a name and like the first letter of the last name and something. And maybe I can keep like screenshots of everyone who's donated. And I feel like that's also a nice way to say thank you. So I'm kind of like reworking how these fundraisers are going to be put out to the world. But if you would like to be the first to, or the first few, or the first whatever to start the donations for the drone fundraiser, then you're welcome to do so. Grumpy can post my PayPal and Venmo, and I'll put it on the screen. And obviously, we'll keep a tally. So drones range from $1,800 to $2,500, and $2,500 if we get a refurbished drone for much cheaper. Then we can also get a remote for like batteries for it and stuff like that. So you tell me whether you feel like we should do the lower end or the higher end. And if we do the higher end, then obviously I will also purchase like accessories. Did you get enough for your EcoFlow? Yes, the EcoFlow is actually on its it's not on its way to me yet because I didn't get the email about the order dispatch, but it has been, but my order is confirmed and it'll dispatch. I did do, pretty. So I ordered from the store that I know where I normally order where I have purchased from electronics from before, and so they had it on pre-order, and like they did say that it would get here like end of this week or beginning of next week. So I decided to go with the store that I know because it's Ukraine, and sometimes, you know, things are smuggled or things are not necessarily like real. And by real, I don't mean like they could be like knockoffs being presented as real. So I prefer to, I prefer to shop at places that I know for sure that that they sell what they say they sell. So there was one that could have been here yesterday, but I figured I'd much rather wait and get like, and know that I got like a thing with warranty and stuff like that. I figured that would be a good place to start. Also, I think, oh, Chad, thank you so much. So we got the first $50 for the drone, which is fan-freaking-tastic. So consider it. We're $50 out of $2,500 in for the drone. And actually, you know what? I can show you a picture of me with the serviceman, but I'm actually gonna have to, you know what? One sec. I'll show you a picture of me with the serviceman that serves in the unit for which we were fundraising, but I'll have to like, he has started posting his face online, and he has appeared on Track a Nazi Merc now. So I don't think he necessarily wants as much privacy as he used to, because he used to not like want his face out there. But I still don't like feel comfortable. So I'm gonna like, you know, like the face is gonna be like, I'm gonna put my thumb on the face. But William Smith, I want to give 100. If you would like to, then I will ask Rebecca to put my PayPal in chat. It's also in my link in bio under my profile picture. You can find links to Venmo and PayPal there. And I am and give me 1 second. I'm gonna go pull out the Polaroid. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member, YouTube user. And here is the pinned comment with my PayPal. And I will let you know in 1 second. I will show you the picture in 1 second. I just got to go grab it because I actually have a Polaroid, like a physical Polaroid. So give me 1 sec. In the meanwhile, you can look at Cindy. You know, oh, you guys can't see Cindy. Oh, you can. In the meanwhile, you can stare at Cindy. It was her birthday yesterday. So it was Cindy's birthday yesterday, and you know, not to use Cindy's birthday, but I'm totally gonna use Cindy's birthday for this. It was Cindy's birthday on the 15th. She had a great birthday. Thank you very much. I got her a water fountain today because you know, she likes to drink a lot of water. And I also got her like a development toy, you know, like one of those where like you put treats and she has to like solve a puzzle to get it from out there. So for Cindy's birthday, you know what Cindy wants? Cindy wants a drone for the defenders of Ukraine and all the frontline pups. So yeah, it was Cindy's birthday yesterday. Okay, so this is the Polaroid. I am putting like a finger on his face, but this was from the day that he went back to the front line after I had met him for the first time. Well, not for the first time, but at the first on the initial visit to Ukraine. And that's the soldier whose unit we'll be fundraising for. And I will tell you, you know, when I asked if they need a drone the other day, when I like messaged him, he was like, yeah, of course we need a drone. And he was like, if it's a possibility, what do I have to do for it? And boy, I was like sitting there trying to figure out how many ridiculous responses can I come up with to that question, because it legitimately, I'm like, I don't know, a lap dance, and like you need to swim over like 7 seas and win a race, and then we'll consider doing it for you. But it was just a funny way to put it, like, yes, what do I need to do for it? I'm like, nothing. You literally just need to tell me that you need it, and we'll try to figure it out for you. But you guys, so many of you have donated already. Oh my God. Give me a second. So Nicholas, Juju, Rolf, and Kat, thank you all very much. All of your donations have brought us to $125 total for the drone. Also, Rachel just donated, so we are actually at $140 for the drone, which is like a really great start. Thank you very much. Well, do we get the dance? I highly doubt, but I will ask. I highly doubt, but I will ask. He should be in Kyiv actually next week. So, I mean, I doubt I can procure a drone by next week, even if we like fundraise for it today or tomorrow. But never say never. Also, Leathercat says, it amazes me that there are still people who use physical film cameras, including Polaroid. I don't only use film cameras. First of all, I have every Polaroid in existence. I mean, like, well, not every, but I mean, like, as in, like, I have a Polaroid Go, I have a Polaroid, I have a Fujifilm, I have like an old school Polaroid I got from my grandpa that I use. I have a ton of different film cameras. I absolutely fucking love them. I also know how to work in the darkroom and print my own photos. So like, I love it. Like, I love it. I think film photography is an art that should have never like died for a little while. And I'm so happy that it's brought back, because like, I find a certain, I don't know, comfort in the fact that you like don't know how your picture is going to turn out, especially if it's like a picture with like people that are important to you and like moments that are important to you, because like you don't actually you don't know. And I love it. And I also love that like film comes out different and it like really depends. I don't know. I love that. So anyhow, Cindy, why do you always have to do all of these weird hygiene things when I'm doing a live, baby? Like, that is so rude of you. I raised you better than that. Wait, not someone. Was it on Venmo, Magda? Was that what it was? Too many people rely so much on digital cameras. Yes, don't get me wrong. Like, I love photography in general, and I wish I did it more, because I used to like do it quite a bit, but and I don't have like up with the times camera, like a digital camera. So I have like a vlog camera. It's not really like meant for photos. Neither are the lenses. But I used to, when it was like a cool thing. In college, I remember like I saved up money and I got myself a Canon T3i, which at that point was like such a cool mirror, mirror full. No, it's crop frame, but it's in cine. But it's a mirror camera, and I was so like excited when I got it. So it was really, yeah. So I used to really do a lot of photography, and I used to really love it. But now I think most of the photography that I do, or most of the photos that I take on like film, and I love that. Shinoana, are you okay, little bud? Can you stop doing that, please? Cindy. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, she's in her own world. Make him stand on one leg, rub his stomach, sing a song like Camptown Races. That never gonna happen. Literally. I don't think, like, I'm lucky if I get a picture, but anyways, at 8 a.m. brownies, not yet. Wait, who's talking about brownies? Brownies were great little cameras. Brownies? I have never heard of brownies as cameras. But you guys, I will read Armin's quote of the day, and then I'll start on the news. And then if donations come, stop. If donations keep coming, I will obviously read them out to you as they go. So I will let you know what we're at by the end of the live. Right now we're at $140, which is still a really good start. Okay, people can do terrible things when they feel safe and powerful. Becky Chambers. This quote from her novel, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, says very much about human nature. Yeah, like it does. It really does. Cindy, lay down. Sorry. Yes, I know, Nick. I know it's you. I just said Nicholas because there is another Nick in the chat, and every time that there are quite a few Nicks, and so the reason why I said that is so no one gets confused. I know it was you. Thank you so much. Cindy, my God, stop. Put your face up. But yes, I really do agree with Armin's quote, and I think that there are a lot of, when you give too much power to someone, and when people get power hungry, they stop sort of like thinking about humanity, and they stop stop, like, I think their thinking becomes sort of like whatever they can do for power to exercise that power. They stop thinking about being humane. And a lot of the times when you give people power and make them feel like they can avoid a responsibility, they will do horrendous things. Cindy, come here. Come here. Come here. Lay down. Yes. Great. Stop licking your paws. Literally, there's no reason to do that. So yeah. So there is that. Nice. Okay, so in the meanwhile, I will actually start on the news because, it's 1:30 already. And today was an infuriating news day for several reasons, and we will get there. Okay, 1 second. Let me get there. Lots of news. None of them are anything that I ever wanted to read. The legal committee of the Georgian parliament has backed the draft law on foreign agents, prompting thousands to protest in Tbilisi. The demonstrators attended the rally, waving EU flags and chanting "No to the Russian law." Police began selectively arresting demonstrators. President Salome Zurabishvili, who opposes the bill, criticized the police actions and expressed support for the people's aspirations for a European future. So basically, this this draft law on foreign agents would basically make the Georgian society be incredibly surveilled, and anyone that receives any money from abroad, like, people whose kids live in a different country and they receive money through Western Union or something, or people who have ever had any dealings with I don't know, with abroad, will have to register. And this law is so vague and so biased that basically you can get accused for being a foreign agent for receiving or sending a PayPal transaction. And it's a specific law that would benefit no one but Russians in the country and actually Russian foreign agents. So it's an incredibly deceptive and an incredibly horrendous law for Georgia. I actually have a video about it and about initial protests in Georgia on my channel. If you go into the briefs and the section called the briefs, there was a video about it, and it's actually quite horrendous what they're doing. I will. You know what? Let me try and find it on my YouTube really quick, and I'll drop the link to that video in the comments so you guys can watch it later if you're interested, because I think it's important to know what this is about. And let me see, because I do have it. Okay, Sini, please stop doing this to yourself. It's not good. Stop it. Genuinely stop it. Sorry. Sini is licking her paws, and it's not good, and I'm trying to prevent her from doing that because it's not good. Here, what's going on in Georgia? Breaking news brief. Okay, share, copy. So I'm gonna drop it in the comments on YouTube, so you guys can watch it if you want to later, and it's gonna explain to you what this draft law is about. Actually, you know what? It's a pretty. Do you want me to play that video right now? Because it's not a very long video. I believe it's 12 minutes. So it's from when I used to do the briefs on YouTube as in recorded news videos, because I had the ability and I had a live-in editor. So if you guys would like to watch it all together, I can play it and we can discuss it, and then we'll get to the rest of the news, because to be honest, the news is infuriating, but not many today. And it's not, it's pretty repetitive. So those of you on TikTok, I'll turn the camera, and those of you on YouTube, if you want to, you let me know what you think. And if you think that that's something you're interested in, then I will. Well, 12 minutes is not a very long video. There are like videos that are 30 minutes or an hour. So you know what? I'm just going to play it. So you're going to have to deal with it, Nick. I'm sorry. And then let me have you guys on TikTok be able to see it too. So let me flip the camera. Also, I'm going to cringe because it's a recorded video of me, but it is what it is. I did do that at some point. I just feel like now that I look at it, I wish I had done so many things better. But, okay.
Зробити таку фотосесію, вам треба витратити як мінімум 2000 гривень, а ще виділити час, підготувати.
Okay, but I'm also going to intro. Okay, here.
Going on in Georgia has been a question that I've received so much this week. So let's take a look into it. First and foremost, I'd like to point out that the country we know as Georgia is actually called Sakartvelo. With that, protests are currently taking place in Tbilisi, the capital of the country, due to the parliament's approval on the controversial bill about foreign agents. In Tbilisi, protesters clashed with security forces in front of the parliament building. Tear gas and water cannons were used against the participants. The president of Georgia, while in the USA, canceled all meetings and prepared an address to the population. The current government of Georgia, Sakartvelo, is largely pro-Russian, and the Russian influence is believed to be the reason behind this law coming into place. Just like in the Russian scenario, the government ordered violent crackdowns on the protesters. Special forces stormed those who gathered under the parliament. Light noise grenades, water cannons, and tear gas were used against them. Brutal detentions were noted as well. People were pulled out of the crowd, as seen in this video. The Georgian police worked strictly according to the Moscow model. Meanwhile, the president of Georgia, Salome Zurabishvili, who seems to be pro-European, supported the protesters and their demands. In her interview with CNN, she called on the Georgian authorities to refrain from using force. And by force, I mean there have been instances of using traumatic weapons with the rubber bullets against the civilian population. The authorities must understand that they have the last chance to close the gap between them and the population, which is becoming even wider. They have one last chance to demonstrate that they're not some pro-Russian force. They have the last chance to show in their statements that they're pro-European and not empty talk, and that Europe is the direction in which they are moving. Meanwhile, the representatives of the opposition at the rally informed that the protesters are intending to prevent the deputies from entering the parliament for their meeting on March 9th. Since the current Georgian government is incredibly pro-Russian, they're also anti-Ukrainian, and it has also become known that they want to strip the representatives of the Georgian Legion, which is one of the largest foreign legions in Ukraine, of their citizenship upon returning home. The commander and founder of the Georgian Legion, Mamuk Mamulashvili, said this in an interview with Suspilna. The Prime Minister of Georgia, Irakli Garibashvili, said that those who fight in Ukraine should be stripped of their citizenship. This is a clear directive from the Kremlin to stop the flow of volunteers going to the Georgian Legion. In my opinion, the Georgian government today fully cooperates with Moscow, is controlled from there, and of course creates problems for us. Now, the Georgian Legion right now is made up of about 1,000 volunteers, 500 of whom are Georgian. It gained notoriety on Twitter for its association with NAFO. NAFO is an organization of people who donated any amount of money to the Georgian Legion in support of them and received an avatar in the form of a meme of Shiba Inu dogs. I know, it sounds weird, but stay with me. Those participating and with the avatar are called fellas. And fellas are basically shitposters who fight the Russian propaganda online. Anyone with free time and a couple of dollars to donate to the Georgian Legion can join. And actually, today, someone from our community, Fella McCrenches, I'm going to pay tribute to you here, has made me an honorary NAFA member with this awesome, really, really cool fella avatar. Yes, that is my hair and my glasses. And yes, she's wearing a cardigan. And yes, I love it. So thank you very much. And I'm sorry for this interruption for a positive piece of news amid a very serious talk. But I had to. It's so cool. And anyways, this is the story of how the Georgian Legion became one of the most notorious foreign legions in Ukraine. The population of Georgia in general supports Ukraine tremendously, and that is evidenced by the fact that the anthem of Ukraine was played at the protest in Tbilisi. Have a listen. Of course, we support them back. President Volodymyr Zelensky has confirmed that on behalf of the whole country in his past 2 evening addresses. So, Georgia, we stand with you, and we know how tough the fight for freedom is. We believe in you. You're incredibly brave, and what we have seen you do is amazing. We know that you are going to prevail, and we know that you are going to win. And with that, let's go over in detail of why this is happening. The Parliament of Georgia adopted the new law on the transparency of foreign influences, but the law itself is not very transparent. Stay with me, you'll understand. The law in its current form threatens civil society organizations and mass media with negative consequences for many Georgians who benefit from their activities. The law is incompatible with EU values and standards. This contradicts Georgia's stated goal of becoming a member of the European Union, which most Georgian citizens support. And as President Zurabishvili called it, it's an unnecessary law that did not come out of nowhere but was dictated by Moscow, telling protesters that she was standing next to you because you're very people who represent free Georgia today. The Georgia which sees its future in Europe and will not let anyone take this future away from it. The bill was largely criticized as posing a potential chilling effect for the civil society of the country, especially for the NGOs and new organizations with links to Europe. The bill will impede on the freedom of expression. The Foreign Agents Bill seeks to marginalize and discredit the foreign-funded groups that are independent and media that serves the wider public. Georgia, as a former Soviet republic, has played a balancing act between its pro-European citizens and its proximity to Russia and its super pro-Russian government. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev said in 2011 that had Russia not invaded Georgia in 2008, NATO would already be on its territory. The invasion only lasted a couple of days, but it appeared to have the same pretext as the invasion of Donetsk and Luhansk in Ukraine. In the last few years, and especially over the past 18 months, Georgia's leading coalition has made a couple of very questionable moves that are distancing it from the West and bringing it closer to Russia. So, what is this law? It's a draft law, and here are its requirements. A business must register as a foreign agent with the government if it is under the control, order, or request of a foreign power, acting under the control, order, or request of a person directly or indirectly, in whole or in major part controlled or financed by a foreign power. This means all credit card companies and banks, including local ones with foreign capital, would have to register. Similarly, all Georgian foreign businesses such as McDonald's, Carrefour, Nestle, Samsung would have to register as foreign agents as well, as they provide assets in the interest of the foreign power. This will undermine foreign investment and seriously impede the ease of doing business in Georgia. Many members of the parliament and other government officials would have to register as foreign agents. Under the draft law, one must register as a foreign agent if they act as a political advisor, which includes informing on the issues of Georgia's domestic and foreign policies. Therefore, when a foreign corporation requests that a member of parliament or other government official provides information about the regulatory environment for foreign investment in Georgia, the official must register as a foreign agent if they provide that information. Similarly, a government official would need to register if a foreigner emailed them a request to answer a simple question, such as whether women could vote in Georgia. Yikes, that is incredibly restrictive, and that is just aimed at controlling the population. But anyways, here's the law's potential impact. The law claims that it'll ensure transparency, especially surrounding foreign influence. However, in actuality, it would subject a large portion of regular Georgians to possible criminal liability, expose personal data, and violate the privacy of many people. Additionally, it would enable government officials to use its provisions at its own discretion, facilitating corruption and unwarranted harassment of people and businesses. Many Georgians would have to register and meet the super intrusive requirements. The draft law would require any Georgian employed by foreign-owned companies or organizations to register as a foreign agent. This also applies to Georgians living and working abroad. If they send money to their family members in Georgia, they could be considered foreign powers, and their family members could be regarded as foreign agents. Further, the information provided when registering as a foreign agent will be made available to the public on a government website, and if the people fail to register and meet reporting requirements, they could face criminal prosecution. While the law would require many ordinary Georgians to register, it doesn't require one interesting thing. A Russian spy, for example, would be exempt from registering under a proposed act, as it exempts any foreign public official. How convenient.
Okay, pull up Katya's KGB personnel file.
No, but darling,
Gosh, it'll show you've been disavowed by the KGB, and then mother will, yes, gasp, because she'll be so confused.
All in all, this law is extremely broad and vaguely defines the people, companies, and organizations that fall under its requirements for reporting, making it challenging to figure out when they even should register, or if they should at all. In order to enforce it, the Georgian government would have to enforce a vast and costly apparatus. So instead, they will likely leave it at the discretion of the authorities, which will cause harassment, especially for independent voices, watchdogs, and political opponents. So what are the protesters' demands? Well, first and foremost, they tried to break down the gates to the parliament of Tbilisi. They surrounded the building and asked the security forces to join their side. Earlier, the Georgian mass media reported that the protesters put forth their demands and gave the parliament an hour to fulfill them, to which they responded, no thank you. So what are these demands? 1. The withdrawal of the bill of foreign agents from the parliament. 2. The release of all those detained at protests. And 3, and the most immediate demand, is the immediate resignation of the Georgian parliament. And what are Georgians going to do if these demands are not met? Well, they're not going to do one thing, and that is give up. And here is a DM that I received from a follower of mine who is from Georgia. And it clearly illustrates that the Georgian people are fed up, and they're not going to let the government take over them and turn them into the same type of dictatorship as Russia is. And I wish them the utmost luck. I hope that this brief helped clarify the situation for you, and you're now a little more informed.
Okay, so we're not going to be doing, we're not going to be going over what I had to say as a sign off at that point. Also, Jesus Christ, I should have really reconsidered my hairstyle in that little situation. But I hope that actually clarified what the law on foreign agents is and how restrictive it is and how ridiculous it is, because it's basically like, it restricts the Georgian people to the point of no tomorrow. And it's actually like ridiculous, because at this point, like if you receive an email from a foreigner asking things about Georgia, and you're like, oh yeah, this is what you can do in the center of the city, you might be required to register as a foreign agent. And like, that might sound ridiculous. Thank you, Yulia. That might sound ridiculous, but the thing is, like, it's real, and they're doing it to control the population. They're doing it to be, to have the control of population similar to what Russia has. So they are going to be enforcing these ridiculous laws and these ridiculous regulations. And so that's why the Georgian people are, again, protesting, because it's ridiculous. And this is Georgia again. And this is, a lot of people protesting in the streets because nobody wants that law to come to fruition, because it's ridiculous. And it's a barbaric law. It's a fascist law. And it's not a democracy law. It's not in line with the EU values or really any like democratic values at all. So yeah, so that's what's happening in Georgia, and I'm really upset to see that this law is back to the table, and that it's being backed by the parliament again. I don't know what they're doing and what they're thinking, because they saw what the Georgians are willing to, what the Kartveli are willing to do in order to throw that law out and overthrow the parliament, because obviously the entire country does not agree with this bullshit. Also, you might not know this, but Georgia is not the real name of the country. The real name of the country is Sakartvelo, and the people that live there are Kartveli. The reason why it's called Georgia is, it's a long story, but it's kind of connected to Russia as well, and they don't mind Georgia as much as they really mind the Russian version, Gruzia. And I will also mention here that the country you know as Armenia is not Armenia at all. Its real name is Hayastan. And the reason why most people know it as Armenia is, again, because Russia called it Armenia. So yeah, there you have it. These are the two things that I wish more people knew about. Varastan is how you say Georgia in Armenian. Oh, that's cool. Are you Armenian? Because we also have another Armenian person, but they're on YouTube, and his name is Armin, and that's the person who sends us quotes of the day every day on every stream. Okay. John Kirby, National Security Council Strategic Communications Coordinator, stated that the White House opposes the U.S. House of Representatives' decision to terminate the aid bill for Israel and Ukraine. Kirby also clarified that the United States does not intend to assist Ukraine in shooting down air targets, as it did for Israel recently. Different conflicts entail different airspace and threat landscapes, Kirby emphasized. I mean, really, because Iran said, threatened the U.S., saying that the U.S. should not partake in the Israel-Iran conflict at all, and if they do, they will see the consequences. And the U.S. was like, sure, and took down the drones anyway. Israel also didn't, he's right. These are different airspace threats because Israel did not need NATO's help to take down those air targets. We talked about it on the last stream. Israel has supreme air defense. Ukraine does need that. At least cover the border parts with NATO. Genuinely, because at that point, at least we are not going to have to waste air defense on regions that don't get attacked nearly as often as those that do. For some reason, the U.S. disregards any country's red lines except for Russia, and Russia has proven itself to be a paper tiger. And yes, I am very well geopolitically versed, and no one needs to tell me what Israel is and how and why it's getting special treatment, and why it is. And why it is why the U.S. is not going to hesitate to help them versus Ukraine. I understand it. But the point is that in this day and age and in this time, you need to understand that Russia's aggression towards Ukraine is not just influencing Ukraine, and it's not just Russia's aggression towards Ukraine. It is literally a doorstep to World War III, and you prevent it by literally helping Ukraine, not looking at Russia's red lines and following them, because when NATO shows its weakness and shows how much it cannot do anything about Russia, Russia actually states more red lines and crosses everyone else's lines even more. And everyone in Ukraine is so pissed off about the situation, because genuinely, Israel did not need the help, because Israel has perfectly capable air defense systems. The US did that as a gesture to prove a point to Iran. If the US did the same gesture and proved a point to Russia, Russia would not be attacking Ukraine nearly as often, because they would know that the US would take it down and they wouldn't want to risk it. That's the thing. It's NATO spends so much time fearing Russia that they literally spend no time making Russia fear NATO. And at this point, I don't think Russia fears NATO, because NATO has like demonstrated itself to be a giant, like massive, just little whining child that doesn't do anything and just threatens everyone. And it's really, really infuriating. Really infuriating. And again, geopolitically, politically, and logically, I understand why the situation is different between Ukraine as an ally and NATO, and then Israel as an ally and NATO. But living in reality, if you still think that Russia attacking Ukraine only concerns Ukraine, then you must be really delusional, because Russia literally picks out who is going to be president and prime minister and the leading party in your country. That concerns you. Just because there aren't Russian soldiers in your home does not mean that there aren't Russians invading your home and deciding what's going to happen to it. And we've seen multiple examples of this. The Netherlands will purchase RQ-35 Hydron reconnaissance drones for Ukraine in the amount of 200 million euro, Ministry of Defense reports. Ukraine will increase the range of its Neptune missiles to 1,000 kilometers and their production by 10 times. In December 2023, the Ministry of Defense announced a mysterious modification of the long Neptune. Navy Speaker Platenchuk announced that NATO countries will supply Ukraine with 5 mine-resistant ships. He mentioned that Kyiv has already received 2 ships, with 3 more currently undergoing preparations for transfer from the Netherlands and Belgium. The Prime Minister of the Czech Republic has confirmed that their country has already secured contracts for the supply of 180,000 artillery shells to Ukraine as part of their initiative. Furthermore, negotiations are ongoing for an additional 300,000 shells. The Prime Minister noted that approximately 20 countries have joined this initiative, specifically mentioning Denmark and the Netherlands. Fiala emphasized that the Czech initiative allows the West time to adjust to the evolving global situation where war is reshaping our world. He stressed the importance of investing more significantly in defense as a responsible security policy to deter potential aggressors. Yeah, somehow Eastern European countries and the countries of the post-Soviet influence understand this, not somehow, but because we've lived through it and we've suffered through it and we've suffered from it. But, this is what I keep saying. We don't have the weapons, but we know what Russia is and we know how to deal with it. The West has the weapons and has no idea what it's dealing with and how to deal with it. At the meeting of the UN Security Council, Ukraine's permanent representative to the organization, Serhiy Kyslytsa, asserted that Russia is attempting to blame Ukraine for the attacks on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, to divert attention from the crucial issue of deoccupying the facility. Kyslytsa stated, the events at the Zaporizhzhia NPP on April 7th and 9th, 2024, and subsequent incidents were a well-planned operation orchestrated by the Russian Federation under a false flag. Its aim was to shift focus away from addressing the root cause, the urgent need to deoccupy the plant and eliminate all threats to nuclear safety. I am taking a deep breath. Thank you. I will actually take a deep breath and remind you that our newest fundraiser for a former unit from the 59th Mechanized Brigade, and now a unit that I can't tell what they do. I can't tell you or anyone really what they do, although I do have my guesses, and I'm not necessarily being told straightforwardly what they do, but I know that they're, they get into some deep stuff. They need a drone, and they're going to be the first recipient of our a drone a month or a drone, a drone at a time initiative. And we are at $140 on that fundraiser. And also, it just hit me that Anastasia, my aunt, is going to the UK in a week and will be there for a week. So maybe I could find a refurbished drone there and ask her to buy it and bring it. Do I need to update the sense on it? Oh my God. Please don't drive people crazy. But if you want to, you can. we do have this thing in our channel where someone will always donate 69 cents just to piss people off because most people are perfectionists and have OCD and really don't like seeing that. And I find it so funny because I also... Oh, right. Okay, so we are at $153 for the fundraiser because we just got a donation from Mashbook. So thank you very much. Grumpy, could you comment my PayPal again so I can put it on the screen while I'm talking? So well, the drone is a Mavic 3 Pro is $2,500, so it's an expensive drone, and I am doing Ukraine news, yes, and but we will fundraise for it in the time in which we fundraise for it. But Anastasia will be in England in a week, so if we are done by then that will be super helpful because then I can order a refurbished drone from DJI that can just come to her and she can bring it here, which would be super helpful. And if we actually can order a refurbished drone from DJI, then we can also buy like batteries and spare part and like accessories for it. But by accessories, I mean like actually necessary stuff that costs money, not like, a tripod or something. And yeah, so a full drone is usually somewhere around $2,500. It varies in price in different countries, but normally you can find it in between, I think in between like $1,800 and $2,500. Why does it label you a spy? Because you signed up for the live subscription, and since it's a spy layer, it labels you a spy. Oh, thank you, Enhil. So we are at $173, and we are also at $173.69. Thanks to someone, you know who you are, who wanted to bring up the total to something annoying. But thank you. Every donation is a sizable and worthy donation. Okay, according to the annual report Blue Book released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan, Japan intends to uphold its stake in Russia's oil and gas projects due to their significance to the country's energy security. I didn't end up taking a breath. I'm sorry. While the government is gradually reducing its reliance on Russian energy sources such as coal and oil, projects like Sakhalin-1 and Sakhalin-2 continue to be viewed as crucial for ensuring stable energy supplies, the document states. The Blue Book also underscores Japan's commitment alongside the G7 nations to maintain a policy of robust sanctions against Russia. It highlights that the trade between Japan and Russia in 2023 decreased by 44.3% compared to the previous year. In June 2023, Japan made the decision to partially exempt the Sakhalin-1, Sakhalin-2, and Arctic LNG-2 projects from sanctions. Breath. Recognizing their importance for Japan's energy security. Specifically, Japan lifted the ban on providing architectural and engineering services to Russia. They're different situations entirely, but I would still have us protect Ukraine over Israel, but can see why it is different. I say screw Israel and Palestine. Well, I mean, here is the thing. That's not necessarily like I'm not going to go into this because every time we get into the Israel-Palestine situation, there are massive amounts of trolls just coming into my live and like commenting absolutely irrelevant stuff, and then I end up not being able to talk about Ukraine for like another hour. I completely disagree with the wiping out of Gaza. Like, I think that this situation is being taken as very black and white. It really isn't. I think that, Hamas is a terrorist organization and Gaza will never be free until it's free from Hamas as well. What Israel is doing is absolutely not okay. Netanyahu is a fascist. But at the same time, I do believe that Israel has a right to exist. I don't think that it should exist with the government that it has right now. And I don't think that the government it has right now is like normal. Those are insane people. But I don't agree with what they're doing in Gaza because they're using October 7th as a justification to literally commit genocide. But yeah, anyways, I'm not going to talk any more about it, but I just had to say that. Zelensky stated that Russian forces successfully targeted the Trypillia thermal power plant due to Ukraine's complete depletion of missiles for defense, exacerbated by a lack of support from allies. 11 missiles were launched at the Trypillia station. We managed to intercept the first 7, but the remaining 4 struck and destroyed Trypillia. Why? Because we had no missiles left. We had exhausted our entire missile stockpile that protected the power plant, the president explained. And that is a very terrifying thing to think of. You know, right now, Kyiv has enough stockpiles, or like, let's say another city does, for now. But Russia has been targeting Ukraine so much this year. From the beginning of the year, we have had so many mass missile attacks. Our air defense is exhausted and we are not getting enough shells. And also, like, you know, the EU, NATO has 100 Patriots just in the EU. And we are asking for 7 Patriots, and shells to them would change the situation for Ukraine in terms of air defense drastically. And we're not getting that. And this is like necessary stuff, because even when missiles get intercepted, all the damage you see, it's from shrapnel. It's from drone shrapnel. It's from like drone debris. It's from missile debris. It's not from massive explosions. Like if you see something in Kyiv, like that art academy that was ruined, completely ruined. It wasn't a missile strike. It was missile debris, because missiles intercepted does not mean damage avoided. Debris falls places and debris still hits. And imagine what happens if we can't intercept missiles. Also, we received 2 more donations amounting to $35 together. Thank you. And that brings us to $208.69. Because someone is a child and wants me to say 69 cents every single time. In an interview with PBS, President Zelensky of Ukraine expressed concern over the potential division of aid to Israel and Ukraine by the US Congress, emphasizing that such a move would reflect poorly on the world and would be driven by pure politics. Zelensky warned that if Ukraine were to falter, it could lead to conflict spreading to other countries, potentially involving American soldiers. He urged prompt action in voting for aid to Ukraine before it is too late. Regarding negotiations, Zelensky stated that Ukraine is prepared to engage, but not with the Russian Federation, as Putin is not genuinely interested in pursuing them. Zelensky emphasized that Putin seeks victory through the destruction of Ukraine and is not motivated by peaceful resolutions. Ukraine promotes its peace formula and convenes international summits without Russian participation to prevent Moscow from obstructing the peace plan, Zelensky emphasized. Also, thank you, and thank you. It's infuriating how they're trying to divide the aid into two separate packages, because this is not being done to actually pass the aid. It's being done to pass aid to Israel by the Republicans and stall aid to Ukraine. That's literally what it is. Ukraine will request the convening of the Ukraine NATO Council to address the issue of air defense, announced President Zelensky. He reiterated discussions regarding how the United States and other Western allies assisted in repelling Iran's attack on Israel using missiles and drones, emphasizing the importance of protecting human lives from terror equally. Ukraine will make a request to convene a meeting of the Ukraine NATO Council regarding sky defense, air defense supply, relevant systems, and missiles, the president stated without providing further details. The White House has expressed readiness to consider funding bills, particularly those concerning aid for Ukraine. John Kirby, the coordinator of strategic communications for the National Security Council of the White House, reiterated that the Biden administration does not endorse a standalone bill solely for aid to Israel, emphasizing that Ukraine also requires ammunition. A White House official stated that the administration's stance on Johnson's initiative warrants examination. However, it could potentially facilitate the provision of necessary aid to Ukraine Israel and the Indo-Pacific region, especially at this critical juncture. It's worth noting that the approval of over $60 billion in aid for Ukraine by the US Congress is currently being obstructed by Republicans in the House of Representatives. And Mike Johnson, you know, Moscow Mike, our favorite character. But that is infuriating because this move is being done by Johnson to further stall aid for Ukraine, because obviously Republicans don't want to further stall aid for Israel, especially because of how many Jewish-owned enterprises donate to the Republican Party and how many private donors are also Jewish. So, of course, they don't want to screw that up. But, and that's why they can't keep delaying the bill for Israel and Ukraine. But if they just break them in two, that's easier. So this is not done for any like reasonable motivations. It's done actually to screw Ukraine even more than they already have. But yeah, that's that. There's just lack of support for you guys. I mean, listen, here's the thing. I've lived in the United States for 13 years, and every time the US makes a decision this bad, it just honestly hurts and pains me because I care about the US and I care about US politics. And it's like a stab in my heart because, you know, I care about the US as much as I care about Ukraine. And it's really painful and hurtful to see how fucked up it has become in political sense of things. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. US is already invaded by Russia because Russia pays MAGA Republicans. Russia installs government officials through, like, you know, through its sponsorships and money. Like, how do people say it's a Ukraine issue? It doesn't concern us. It very much does concern you. Your government is being chosen by Russia. What do you mean? The US is currently run by cowards. Americans, we need to fight to get back from Russian influence. Agreed. I actually think you guys, maybe on Saturday, well, no, because Anastasia is going to be here, but maybe on Sunday or something like that, I will do 2 lives. Oh, Rick is doing lives on Sunday. Okay. But I feel like, you know, when I finish the news, I normally never have time to stay and talk because it's really late and I do need to go to bed. It's 2 a.m. But I want to do like a chat live, like a Q&A live where we can just talk about current events and we can, you know, you can ask questions and I can have more time to respond without having to rush off to bed because it's late. Because, you know, I try to do my lives when it's late here. So it's like, after work for you guys in the US. So let's do a live one of these days, maybe like next weekend or something. I will do a live on a Saturday or Sunday. We will talk about which day is better, and we will just have like a chat live, you know, where we can talk about different things. But thank you for showing up every day. Thank you for listening to the news, and thank you for letting me, you know, talk to you about it. And here is the fundraiser total for the drone as of right now. It's at $208.70. And if anyone would like to donate, the PayPal is on the screen. Venmo is the same as my YouTube handle at Yulia. And I will see you guys tomorrow as per usual. And I'll try to do a bit of an earlier one so we could actually chat a little bit when the live is over. Alrighty. I will see you tomorrow. And yes, you guys did so well. Thank you so much. Yes, for sure. How do I am, Slava? I'll see you guys tomorrow.